At least it was quick. Beautiful. Love it. 10 out of 10. Honestly, they did really good with some of the music, and then other parts of it is just like, okay, I guess this is happening now. But I do love the game. Archives, as always. Hello, Bendy. Welcome to the Archives of Bendy and the Dark Files, filled with numerous characters that each had a critical role to play in the progress of the game. Here's the archives. You will learn a little bit more about them in up-close and personal ways. Feel free to explore. Bendy. The iconic game was redesigned for Dark Revival to stand out a bit from his traditional cartoon appearance. By giving him a suit and clothes, he poses some minor challenges. Specifically creating a face of the sport of the classic Bendy, eerie smile, but still managed to give heartwarming in the right conditions. He's a fan favorite, so his design had to be just right during production. We originally envisioned Bendy to talk with the series' cute squeaks, to contrast the dark, low voice of Paint Demon. But this turned out to be very distracting, and the idea was scrapped really early on. Yeah, I mean, fair enough. So the part of the locker room when you're being chased? Part of the locker room when you're being chased. Like with all of the lockers? Like hundreds of lockers? I found there was a book in there, yeah. Ink Demon. As the world of the Dark Revival became more complex and established, we realized the Ink Demon's design needed to be completely rethunk to match our new tone. Previous versions of his appearance looked absolutely silly when placed in the world alongside the other characters. No amount of creepy music or screen effects would conceal how out of place he looked. The Ink Demon needed to look different than everything else in the world and show a natural progression of the Demon's evolution, as Wilson held the cycle in place. Oh, the Beast is also in here. Beast Bendy. Returning to the climax of the Dark Revival, Bendy Beast also has revisited from the mindset of making him far more powerful than the Beast-like. Traditionally, most horror games, they tend to build to a point where the main villain becomes the final form monster as the final boss. It's practically a trope. Our idea, what if you got to play as the final form instead? Yeah, the final form was just... I can't grab you. I can't grab you. And the searchers are chasing you, and the same music then plays in Sammy Sue in Chapter 2 of Bendy and the Dark Revival. Oh. Okay, from Bendy and the Ink Machine. Okay, I do remember that. Joey Drew Memory, the man, the legend, the memory. Creating his version of Joey Drew was both an exciting and daunting process. It was clear from the start that this Joey would be different from the one in the original Bendy and the Machine game. This was a man with all the guilt from a past life, but without the experience to fully understand it. Real Joey Drew made many mistakes, but ultimately learned from them. This doesn't absolve him of his sins, but at the end of his life, he was able to help correct some of them and help fight the darkness he created. Betty. A faithful maid among other things to Wilson, Betty was an important character for the story of Dark Rival as failed experiment and some relatively new to the cartoon studio. She was able to give a somewhat different point of view on the state of the world. We have purposely left it unclear if Betty was in on Wilson's plot or to harvest Audrey, or if she was just a bystander behind her mask. There are still answers to be found. In other words, they'll be brought back in the next game. Stuff. Let's go out to this door. Can't run in this area. Audrey's donut. No, you can't have it, but I want it. Okay, so I didn't get the book ending. I missed the book ending somehow. Good. Nathan Arch Sr. Nathan Arch was everything Joey Drew wasn't. He worked hard, built up nothing, and never compromised his integrity. Joey's had big dreams, but Nathan accomplished his own dreams. He and his wife Tessa raised a son with much love and care as they could despite Nathan's career pressures. Sadly, his son did not share Nathan's natural talent for business and enterprise. Here you go, star, star, star. It's blurred out, unfortunately, so you'll let me see here. Let me see if I can do something. Observer should be never expires. Wait, copy there. There you go. Audrey, the unknown daughter of the animator pioneer. Audrey has blocked out the memories of the past after losing her father, but his role in her life was not over. A talented animator and artist, her skills landed her a job at Archgate. Was it fate that led her to reunite with Joey Drew's machine, the machine of her birth, or was it planned? Wilson! No one likes you, Wilson. No one likes you. You don't get to be read. Henry Stein, the original cycle breaker. Henry Stein is the ghost of a man who lost his purpose years ago. Once fueled with finding a way to escape the tortures of the ink demon, finding his way home to his life, Henry is now left with the cold reality of being a recreation of the person he thought he was, saved as a special surprise for fans of the Bendy, the Ink Machine game. Henry was strictly omitted from all public discussions of the character during the entire production, which spanned several years, but Henry returned with a very satisfying face reveal. And he just looks depressed and sad. Allison returning for another victory over the Ink Demon. Allison is always the voice of reason, a beacon of hope. Allison designed it was carefully upgraded from the previous Bendy the Ink Machine game to maintain her personality, but with more fidelity. There we go. The purpose of meeting Allison so early in the campaign was to introduce the player to a familiar face after the main introduction. At the start, Allison was able to serve as the motivating force for Audrey until the true plot kicked in later. I don't even remember her, from the beginning of this game. I do remember her from last game. Tom is Allison's silent protector, and the only Boris clone involved in the main story, whereas Boris the Wolf, rumors has it that during the events of the game, Boris is experiencing a dark survival story of his own. In other words, they made another game for him. I'm sure there's Secrets of the Ink Machine that I could play soon as well. Ink Machine designed for Thomas Connor, the Gent Corporation stole from the Joey Drew, retrieved by Archgate, and once again reclaimed by Gent. The Ink Machine's next adventure is a mystery. Still hate you. Audrey cartoon. You have to agree to the rules, and then it'll give you access to the rest of the channel. Audrey is a kind-hearted rogue of courage, determination, some flaws, and a deep, dark past. To make our story work, we needed a newcomer of the Carbon Studio world, and Audrey was the perfect fresh eyes to help. The adventure. Help to experience the adventure. Oh my god. From day one of production, we knew that if people didn't connect with Audrey by the end of the game itself wouldn't be successful. Fortunately, she turned out to be quite memorable indeed, and stand out for the other members of the cast. He was okay. Heidi. Heidi has spent some time in the pit, a prison set up by Wilson and the Keepers, It's unclear why, but mostly likely. Okay, that's a sentence. She was able to access places she shouldn't have. The experience in the pit changed her as it does many, leaving her into a childlike state, longing for happiness again. Order as a cycle was held in place, and with the influence of the ink demon held at bay, the cartoon world was able to grow and advance, creating such a character as Porter, a lost one, who came to claim the new identity as an explorer. Porter was written with the knowledge that Dark Revival would feature a far more serious tone than the first game of Bendy and the Ink Machine, and his light-hearted innocence would help the player feel some warmth in the inky world of sorrow. There you go. There you go, Blondie. You guys just had terrible voices. I just didn't like your voices. The Butcher Gang, Barley, Charlie, and Edgar, the three original members of the Butcher Gang, were formed from the Ink Machine, disconnected by Alice Angel for body parts, and bound together to stay alive with sneak attacks on their prey. Dark Revival, we meet an artificial fourth member of the gang, Carly, the Ghost Girl, although when you begin to examine her closely, Carly appears to be only be a shell with perhaps someone inside. Monkey. I'm still impressed I got that riddle right. Like that puzzle, that was a good puzzle. Sammy Lawrence, the famous music composer of the studio, Sammy Lawrence originally had a slightly larger role in the story of Dark Revival, but in a story already filled with so many characters, making them all play a meaningful part became a challenge. He was ultimately sidelined in favor of telling a more coherent story, although it is interesting to note that Sammy Lawrence appears to have mastered the flow ability in Bendy in the Ink Machine, long before Porter and Audrey could wield it. Yeah, that's fair. Porter's voice is just amazing. Alice Angel, the self-appointed queen of the studio. Alice Angel is one of the most memorable faces in Bendy's world, forever lost in the tide of insanity. She is an absolute delight. Right for her as a character, an angel with many layers. Time will only tell if the inky temptress will ever reappear. Alright. Amok. The ruler of the sewer cult, Lord Amok, illustrates how the world of ink has continued to develop into different societies. Deep within the darkest places, though he was weak in a fight, his name was simply Never Die. Shipoi Dudley, the determined invention of Wilson created to serve the purpose of dethroning the ink demon in the cartoon world, and also upstaging Joey Drew in the eyes of Wilson's father, Nathan Arch. Neither of these happened. Shipoi Dudley is a mysterious sailor with his own eerie grin, similar to the Bendy, along with his sidekicks, Cackle the Crab. Oh, it is unknown just what kind of cartoon adventures they would have had together. Fucking Cackle. Ink Widow. Ink Widows have begun to infest where the light grows darkest. Their king, the biggest and the most feared, will only emerge from its nest when its young are threatened. Yeah, I murdered so many of them. And the Lurker. The Lurker, or Steve, as he's came to be known, was originally created as a brute-type enemy that would freely roam the way lost ones do, but ultimately felt unnecessary as a random ink demon encounter already filled the role of putting in the players on edge while exploring previously traversed locations. In the end, the Lurker found a much better calling as an unlikely ally, effectively expanding him into more than just a typical enemy. Yeah, he ate a heart, he was never a friend. I think that's it. I think that's everything. What's this for? Oh. Okay, something's over there.